Interview two in our three-part Mexico series, where I've traveled to Mexico with the goal to bring you exciting alternative things that are happening in Mexico that you're not hearing about, you need to hear about. This is part two. Look, I was blessed. I am you will see me at the top alternative cancer clinic, I believe, in the world, where they're doing some absolutely incredible things. And I got to interview a double survivor, you'll see what I mean, of cancer, who's a doctor. And wait till you hear this story. You're going to hear what she did, and she did it all natural, and she was given a very short time to live. Wait till you hear this story, and wait till you see this clinic. I'll see you on this episode.
Hello everyone, welcome to Cellular Healing TV. I'm Ashley Smith, and this is our second episode in the Alternative Health series filmed on location in Cancun, Mexico. Today, Dr. Pompa is visiting with Dr. Veronique Desaulniers, who goes by Dr. V. She's the founder of Breast Cancer Conqueror and the creator of the 7 Essentials System, which is a step-by-step educational program with the goal of preventing and healing breast cancer naturally. Dr. V has personally conquered breast cancer twice, which gives her an empathetic perspective to understand other women facing a healing journey. You can check out her book, her website, and her many contributions online and in print in our show notes. Also, please stay to the end of the episode to hear about our live stream access for our Live It to Lead It event that's coming up in Nashville. I'll also put that info in our show notes, or you can visit drpompalive.com for more information. Okay, so let's get started and join Dr. Pompa and Dr. Veronique down in Cancun, Mexico. This is Cellular Healing TV.
Welcome to Cell TV. I laughed because I said Ashley actually had the hardest job of introducing your name, and thank God, because I'm a dyslexic. These people watching this, they know I botch names all the time, so it would have been a disaster. Thank you, Ashley. But we're on our Cancun series, doing some amazing interviews down here in Cancun. So many amazing health things happening here, so that's really why I came. Get a little vacation in while we're at it. So
beautiful location.
Yeah. Well, I really this was an unexpected interview. Here we are at Hope for Cancer, this amazing clinic. I wish y'all could see it, and I'm going to interview Dr. Tony as well if I haven't already. And you'll get to see a little bit of this. And you come here often, obviously.
I do.
Lecture and teach. And
yeah. I bring a group of women about once a quarter, because they may be a little bit leery about coming to Cancun. They're not sure, is this clinic really legit? But I'm so impressed with the work and the technology that Dr. Tony is using here. And so women love it, and we have a great time. They get some therapies done. They meet Dr. Tony and I. We consult with them. We help them with a game plan for their healing journey, and it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, I'm impressed. I mean, just seeing everything that they're doing here. And I've interviewed Tony in the past, and just amazing. He's speaking at my seminar, actually, for the first time. Actually, we do doctor seminars, but this is the first time we actually have the public coming in today because of the topic of cancer. Well, you bring an exciting topic. Exciting in the sense of, you're bringing some unique solutions, but not exciting in the sense that more and more people, women in particular, obviously, breast cancer. And that starts your story. From pain to purpose is mine. From pain to purpose is your story. So, start there. Tell them your story.
Well, in my 25th year of being a chiropractor and bringing wellness to the world, I discovered a lump in my left breast. And so here I was, Dr. V, teaching everybody about health and wellness.
Wow.
How could I end up with breast cancer, right? And so that started the journey of, what was I missing, and what could I do to reverse this and to heal my body? What did I learn? And so I started going down that path of research and figured out that there were pieces of the puzzle that I was missing. And so I created a system called the 7 Essentials System, which is basically a step-by-step
guide. And you said piece of the puzzle because you actually kind of have a puzzle system.
I do. Yeah, 7-step process. Mm-hmm. Because women that come to us now are so overwhelmed because there's so much information out there, Dr. Google. And so we are able to put a process together for them so it takes the stress and the worry out of everything. And it's very systematic, very easy process to follow. And an interesting part of my story, which more and more people are starting to know, is that in 2015, I had a recurrence. And that was a big blow because here I was, the breast cancer conqueror, helping women. But it was one of those situations where I had to ask myself, what is the gift? What am I learning here? How can I grow from this? How can I help my community go through this? And so the great news is, 3 years later, happy, healthy, vibrantly healthy, cancer-free.
You look amazingly healthy.
Well, thank you. So learned a lot and really made my message even more powerful because I recognized certain things that, I allowed myself to get sucked into the vortex of putting others first before myself, my health. I developed another cavitation that I didn't know about, an infection in my bone.
I talk all about that on the show. Yeah.
Okay, very, very serious. And interestingly, it sat on the left breast meridian.
Always.
Yeah.
I didn't even expect that in the show because I didn't know that part of the story. But that's huge for our viewers because one of the things that I get all the unexplainable illnesses that come my way. And I always say, so much of it's here, right? Obviously, amalgams, giving off mercury, but these hidden infections, root canals, cavitations, let's talk a little bit about that as part of your story because that was, in fact, and you can do all these amazing things, but if you don't get upstream to the cause, it will come back. That's actually what I sing there. That's what I always say, and whether it's cancer or whatever condition you're battling. And we know the link is so strong with these cavitations and cancer. Talk a little bit more about that. What happened?
Yeah, so the first time around in 2004, I had a cavitation on the bottom, left breast meridian. I didn't even know what a cavitation was, treated it and everything, cleared up. But this time around, I had something called root resorption. It's actually an autoimmune issue that attacked my tooth. It was empty. It was hollow from the inside out. And there was also an infection in the bone.
Yeah.
Sat in the
most likely from the cavitation. They got that decavitated, but there was infection in there.
Well, this was on the top. Yeah,
this was on the top.
This was a different area.
So you never had a wisdom tooth removed there?
No.
Okay.
No, this is number 14.
It just somehow got bacteria underneath near that root.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went to see Dr. Nunnally in Texas, Marble Falls, Texas. Great cavitation specialist.
Great.
And
Good to have. We'll put her name in the
and then I had found out I had a cavitation in a wisdom tooth, an old wisdom tooth extraction upper right, and so took care of everything, and that was a big piece of the puzzle for me, for sure.
Same thing. I had a partially impacted wisdom tooth, and he went in and found infection in the root underneath, and said this thing's got to come out. And I was hesitant because wisdom teeth coming out means cavitation later,
right?
And I know all about it. But he took it, and then 3 days later, I had inflammation up here and pain. He didn't touch up there.
Wow.
And I knew what happened. I had a wisdom tooth removed correctly 25 years before, and sure enough, those bacteria communicated with these bacteria, went to a safe haven to their friends. It also went in the root in the front. So I lost that tooth as well. But it was, again, if that wasn't found, I would no doubt been in a different status of health anyway. So, I'm so glad that we're discussing this because, this is, I really have talked about the breast cancer connection and root canals as well as cavitations. But, here's a real life story for someone like that knows a lot, right? Just like myself, right? I knew a lot, but it's still got me these hidden things. So did you get a cone beam done? That's the best way to determine these things. And
had a cone beam digital x-ray done, and of course the dentist who did it in Atlanta said, oh, you're fine. But I sent my films to Dr. Nunnally in Texas, and he said, yes, you've got 4 cavitations. So I went to see him, and everything got cleared up. And I think the big story for me, or the big learning lesson for me this second time around, is no matter how healthy you think you are, you always have to keep a pulse on your health and keep testing and make sure that you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's, because we're under so much stress and assault in so many ways, as the detox specialist here. And not only from the physical point of view, but essential number 4 is to heal the emotional wounds and to make sure that you're managing your stress and that you're managing your life every day, that you're taking time to calm down your nerve system, and you monitor that. There's things that you can use like the Heart Math app or the Muse, or making sure that your parasympathetic nerve system is being activated and you're not in the fight or flight mode every day.
So let's talk a little bit about some of these other upstream stressors, because as we just pointed out, if there's a hidden stressor, you're going to get it in another disease or another form of cancer, or who knows what the symptom. Bottom line, you won't get well. So trapped emotions, emotional trauma. Did you have, going back to your story, did you have some of that?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I want to know all your stressors. I want to know all your stressors.
How long do you have? Well,
she looks so calm now. So whatever she's doing.
Well, as a child, I grew up in an alcoholic environment. Both parents were alcoholics. I found out later, when I was almost 50, that I'd been sexually abused from the age of 3 to 5.
Talk about a trapped toxic emotion.
Yes, and this was by a convicted pedophile. So we're talking like the late 1950s. And he was our next door neighbor. So what my family knew, I didn't know until, I did the work and it started revealing itself. So that was a big role in, my life up until then. And then after that, I just learned that I didn't have to keep my nose to the grindstone, that I could take time for myself, that it's okay to chill, it's okay to meditate, it's okay to take a nap in the afternoon if I want to. And just really being very conscious of my stress level and just recognizing that, hey, I need to, dial it down a bit, because I allowed that to get out of control in 2015.
Yeah. And I mean, so the next question, begs to be asked, what did you do about these trapped emotions from abuse? I mean, those are big things that we carry literally in our cells. The body doesn't know the difference of chemical toxicity, physical, and emotional. So what were some of your strategies?
Oh,
what are some of the strategies you teach now, I'm sure?
Yeah, a lot of emotional work with therapists, counselors. I love EFT. I had 2 EFT coaches.
Yeah.
I do a lot of energy medicine work.
We did a past show on EFT. Ashley can put the link in here, but I used it.
I love it. I got certified about 15 years ago, and when I had my brick and mortar practice, the changes I saw in people was amazing in just a few minutes. And we encourage our clients now to use it. We teach it because there's such a hard link with the psyche and the body, and you have to release those emotions because they become trapped.
Yeah, no doubt. We've done some other shows, EFT, EMD, which is very similar. EMDR, it stimulates the thing as well as the tapping, right? But explain a little bit why that works. Most people watching this probably be like, okay, I go to a counselor. How does this type of therapy differ than what I would normally hear about?
So energy medicine basically ties the subconscious mind with your physical body. Our emotions get trapped in our body. And there's a little almond-shaped part of your brain called the amygdala, right, in the center of your brain. And that's our protector. It's used to keeping us in the fight or flight mode, right? It watches us. It tells us when we're not safe. And our brain is designed to make sure that we stay safe. And so when we give our emotions, our negative emotions, sometimes we're afraid to talk about them, right? When we give our negative emotions, our fears, a voice, and we say it's okay while you're tapping on these acupuncture meridian points, then you're making that mind-body connection. And you can literally feel your body downshift. We use the term on a scale of 1 to 10, how intense is this emotion? You start off, maybe you're at an 8 or 9, then you do the tapping, and by the time you're done, you're at 2 or 3. And the interesting thing now about EFT and all the research behind it, Dr. Beth Maharaj did a study on people who tapped for an hour. She found 72 positive genes were upregulated when they did tapping.
That's amazing.
Everything from insulin resistance, blood sugar levels, anti-cancer genes turned on, detoxification. I mean, the list went on and on. 72 genes.
Yeah. In the interview that we did for EFT, I mean, it goes through what you just quickly went through, in some great detail, and we even did it on the interview, so that'll be helpful to people. What else did you do in your battle? Maybe the first time different than the second time, so you can kind of differentiate that, but that you felt, man, that was a game changer for me. That was a big deal.
So it's interesting you use the word battle. So that's one thing that I learned because we've been indoctrinated to think, we've got to fight cancer.
Yeah.
And so I've taken the position, and this is what we teach our community as well, is we don't want to fight because that's a stress response.
I stand corrected. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah.
That's a stress response, and that's what traditional medicine, the pink movement, has taught, right?
Do you find more men try to use these terminologies?
No, women.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because I'm thinking, everything is like, okay, you can fight and beat, but you're right, it is a stress response.
Because they think they have this thing inside of them that they have to kill and destroy. Yeah. So our approach is we really want to embrace where we are now and understand the root cause, because if we keep doing the things we've always done, we're going to get the same results, right?
Of course.
So it's about understanding what brought you to this point, what has allowed the cancer to develop in your body. And, we know what it is. It's, stress and toxicity and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And so when we become aware of those things, and we can actively, take a stance and embrace where we are, ask yourself, what is the gift in this journey? What am I learning? What is my body trying to tell me? And
I always start off reluctantly with that question. Okay, because I know it. Logic. Okay, I have to ask. Okay. I say, okay, God, what do you need me to learn? What do I want to learn? It's like, but it's always this like, and then I loosen into it. But words are so powerful because you have to start there.
Yes. And it was tough. It was really hard for me because I was the face of Breast Cancer Conqueror, and here I had this deep, dark secret, right? And I had to continue to be the face, and at the same time, I was, on my own journey. But there was always, when I did my meditations, my prayers, I would always visualize myself being at this point where I was on the other side, and I could share my story, and I knew it would be even more powerful because I had done it again. And I've learned so much more.
Well, and it's a really good testimony, because it's not like you did something wrong and what you were preaching before doesn't work. You found another, what we say, there was another upstream causative factor.
Yeah.
And that it could have been me. I mean, with the cavitation I had, thank God, right? I mean, but it shows you how important this stuff is. Okay, so some of the therapies that you used before and again, and these were game changers.
Yes. So the technology for dealing with cancer has improved light years since 2006, right? 9 years later. So there was all kinds of blood tests that I could use, like the RGCC grease test, IVG, which measures free cancer DNA in the bloodstream. So there were good things that I could use to monitor my progress. I did lots of high-dose vitamin C, poly-MBA.
Yep. Those, yep.
The list goes on and on. I mean, I had a whole protocol that I followed. It was very intense, intense.
Here they do a lot of coffee enemas. Mm-hmm. Did you, this time around, probably not the first time, the laser treatments with the putting the infrared and the different lasers.
Yeah.
Did you use that this time?
I did,
okay.
Yeah. And, coming here obviously was quite an incentive for me because I saw the technologies. Mm-hmm. And I had some of the technologies and the testing that they did here. Like one of the most innovative tests, which I love, is called PDIS, which they insert a laser into the vein and live can measure if there's circulating tumor cells in your bloodstream. Yeah,
I'm going to try to film that in Tony's interview.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's technology from Germany that, why fly to Germany when you can get it done here? And so I had that done last fall, and everything was clear. So, it's just so fun to be able to come to a place like this that is, light years ahead and doing things that is reversing cancer, so that my message to women is you never have to fear breast cancer again.
Yeah.
That's, there's so many things that you can do that are at your fingertips that can empower you.
We're working kind of backwards in this sense, but I want people to understand how important this topic actually is, because there's many people sitting there watching it going,
phew, thank God, that's, my mom didn't have cancer. That's not my family. I'm okay. That's really, you didn't get it because of genetics, and you're not safe because without genetics. So let's talk about the statistics and the chances, because they're actually alarming right now of what's actually happening. We are losing the war. Bad word. We're fighting, but we're losing it anyway. So tell us about that.
Well, statistically, 1 out of 7 to 8 women are destined to develop breast cancer in their lifetime. 1 out of 3 women and 1 out of 2 men are destined to have some form of cancer in their lifetime. Every year, there's over 275,000 women in this country alone that are diagnosed with breast cancer. And the statistics are just going to get worse. World Health Organization says that, in 20 years, it's going to be 50% for everybody.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, that's the alarming statistics. 50%. What did you say? What was the date exactly?
In about 20 years.
Yeah, in about 20 years, 50%. Yeah. Okay, so if you don't think that's you, think again. My big fear is what happened to you, meaning going back. Because even when I was getting well, I would say to my wife, if I experience a certain set of symptoms, I can't go back there. It'd be like, it would just scare me, because that was my biggest fear. But it drives me to do this. It drives me to live my life at a very high level and practice what I preach. People are always like, oh, you're so disciplined. And I'm like, that's what fear can do.
That's right.
It's like, but I try to be more motivated now, not from the fear. And it is happening where I'm more motivated to bring answers.
And to be passionate about vibrant health. Who doesn't like to feel great?
But I think both of us, we can put ourselves in the person that's sitting across from us very differently and know what that feels like, to be scared out of your mind. And just living my life the way I felt was the scariest thing for me. It really was.
And you can relate. That's what makes you so powerful, and your message so powerful, is because you've been there. And I think that's why, I attract so many women as well, is because I understand, I've been there. And unless you've been there, you don't really know what it feels like.
I hope people heard the message. We got our lives back by looking upstream. I think a lot of functional medicine today I criticize, because they're running a lot of expensive tests, a lot of genetic tests, all the fancy stuff, and they're just giving a lot of supplements. Neither of us would have got our life back with the perfect amount of supplements or treatments.
No, it takes, in the system that I've created, it's nutrition, detoxification, balancing your energy, which means sleep, hormones, chiropractic, acupuncture, the emotional aspect, the dental aspect, then comes the supplements and some of the changes there. And number 7 is adopting very early detection. Now, the big pink movement is all about early detection. But what do they use, right? Radiation and compression, which we know is very inaccurate. And interestingly, both times that I found the breast cancer was through a breast self-exam, which has made me very passionate about teaching women about breast self-exams, which brings us to my breast friend. Now, statistically, women under 50, 73% of them will find their own breast lump. Women above 50, 50% will find. So the majority of women will find a breast lump, but oftentimes it's by happenstance. Now, there's an organization called Mamacare Foundation, and they've used a silicone breast model to teach clinicians and nurses how to do a proper breast self-exam. Behind this, you can see there's lumps of various sizes and various depths. So this has been a training model for over 30 years to teach doctors. The company has asked me to take this to the general public so that women can learn how to do a proper breast self-exam and know what they're looking for, because women are afraid to touch their breasts. They don't know what they're feeling.
Right.
When you're trained in doing a proper self-breast exam, I don't know if you can see this very well, most women will find something the size of a ping pong ball. That's
how do you miss
size.
that? I mean, don't even shower, would you find that? No.
And you'd be surprised. When you're trained in a proper breast self-exam, you can find it when it's the size of a pea.
Yeah.
And so we're getting ready to launch this next week, actually. And
Could I see something?
Oh,
I just want to see how hard, because there's obviously bigger ones and smaller ones.
And so there's a whole training system that comes with this. You get the model, but there's a video training system.
So where do they get this?
Well, mybreastfriend.com is where we are right now, but we haven't really launched it yet. It's launching next week.
And tell them, I think, more importantly, even how do they get in touch with your material? Where do they find your website? So give them that.
Breast Cancer Conqueror, CONQUEROR.com, and on Facebook, Instagram. I do have the second edition, updated edition of my book pre-launch coming out mid-March, and the paperback will be out at the end of April. So.
Yeah. Well, you're truly a conqueror. That's for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, and from pain to purpose, it's no doubt your story. And it was a God thing that I even was able to do this interview, how it worked out with me down here, and to hear the second part of the story on something that I preach so hard on these hidden infections, and they're linked to beyond cancer, but a huge link. I have had several doctors who I've helped with cancer. Thyroid, throat, and breast on the same side of these hidden infections.
Yeah.
The old way that we would detect them is we'd just kind of go in and explore, drill into the area. Right. With cone beam today, it's a different game. I mean, if you had wisdom teeth extracted, you have health problems, get a cone beam. And obviously, self-detection with this, it's better. Are you a believer in some of the standard treatments like mammography, et cetera? No.
I've never had a mammogram.
Mammogram, never.
And legally, of course, I'm not going to tell women not to have one.
Of course.
Regardless if you get one or not, don't just rely on one thing. So if you do thermography, get an ultrasound. If you do a mammogram, get an ultrasound. And back it up with your proper breast self exams all the time. Yeah. And now we have blood work, liquid biopsies that detect cancer at a very, very early stage. So there's no need to fear it. Just keep a pulse on your health and doctor.
Well, and I think fear is really how the whole cancer thing is working, right? I mean, they drive people into fear with the treatments.
Exactly.
Was that hard for you the first time? The second time probably wasn't as hard for you to.
Well, the first time I knew what I wanted to do.
Did you do any chemo?
No, I did everything.
I remember
outside
you telling
of,
me that.
Everything outside of traditional medicine. No surgery, no radiation, no chemo, both times.
Yeah. See, there is another way, and we're not telling anyone not to do any of these things. However, we're telling you to educate yourselves for sure.
Yeah, and that's an important point too. If you choose to do traditional medicine,
that doesn't mean you throw this out the window either.
Exactly. There's so many things that you can do to support your body from the side effects as you're going through it, and we teach women how to do that all the time. Yeah.
Well, glad to see you again here. I think we saw it was Dr. Manny's show, right?
Detroit.
Yeah, in Detroit, where I met you the first time. I thought, there's a superwoman changing the world. So thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much. Okay, you're supposed to hug me.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't. I always saw my one window. All right, we'll see you on the next Cell TV from Cancun.
Well, that's it for this week. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to check out our next HCF seminar in Nashville, where we'll have a lineup of top health experts who will explore the latest research and most effective strategies in the field of cellular healing. And we now offer a live stream option, and you can check that out at drpompalive.com, so you can enjoy the seminar from any location in the world. We'll be back next week and every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We truly appreciate your support. You can always find us at cellularhealing.tv, and please remember to spread the love by liking, subscribing, giving an iTunes review, or sharing the show with anyone who may benefit from the information heard here. And as always, thanks for listening.